crimes against women saw over 63% rise in 2021 so far. This is very alarming, as you know. In fact, if you want to look at some development index, human development index, or any progress of the country, Dr. Ambedkar said that the advancement of any civilization can be judged by the status of the woman that she enjoys in that society, the respect she is given in that society. On the contrary, in India, we say woman is mother goddess and so on. But we also are all witnessing increasing crimes against women. This is a contradictory, a paradoxical phenomenon, where we think that it is a country where women are worshipped. But again, there seems to be an increase in crimes against women, over 63% in 2021 so far. While we say we worship women, there is so much gender disparity and gender discrimination against women. Isn't it irony and also a paradoxical situation and a contradiction? It's time. So let's go into the reasons. Well, the report says that the crime against women in the capital, that is in Delhi, they mentioned about increased by 63.3% in the first 6 months of 2021 as compared to 2020, data shared by Delhi police. Of course, there are so many towns, like they say, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Delhi, Bangalore. They say that. In fact, if you look at the crime scenario, Delhi seems to be the recording highest number of crime cases against women, and it's no longer safe for women. Gandhiji once said that a country can only be described to have got independence when women could walk freely even in the middle of the night. Unfortunately, so many after more than 70 years of independence, 75 years of independence, yet that seems to be a mirage and a dream, but not a reality. So the women really are not able to walk alone in the middle of the night in many places, town cities, and the security, safety issues that are surrounding women, giving protection to women, seems to be not in place, and everywhere women are at high risk of getting exploited, assaulted, or also cheated. So let's get into the basic reasons as to why they do it. So it clearly shows, if you can see the picture there, and I want to share you that with that rape. So that is the kind of thing. And kidnapping of women increased, insult to the modesty of, outraging the modesty of women, and dowry deaths. As you know, every after newlywed marriages establish their homes, we hear the bride burning or gas cylinder getting burst, indirectly dowry death case. A woman, newlywed married woman, bride dying in very suspicious circumstances. So this is very, very unfortunate, but we have been noticing this increasingly. We talk about women literacy, women emancipation, women education, and it is a fact that women literacy, emancipation has risen over a period of time. But why is that there is a dowry? Why should they pay dowry? Why nobody is protesting against that? Why even educated women also are quietly acquiescing to this practice of dowry? Why can't we thought we were told 30 years ago when I was a student, that 35 years ago, when we were preparing for civil service, once there is education, once there is women emancipation, women literacy, and increased awareness of women, all this will go. Crimes against women will go. But today I am talking to you that crimes against women have increased. In fact, dowry deaths have not come down. Dowry practice goes unabated, perhaps even on the rise. Higher the education of the women or bride, higher is the dowry that is to be given. I was talking to my driver who had his daughter enrolled in medical education. She was lucky to have got from a very poor, humble background. So my driver was not happy. He said, I contacted him, look, nobody got a medical seat, so in a government college, your daughter is very intelligent and having a lot of talent. So you should be very happy. But he said, sir, fayda kya hai? What is the use? More I educate her, I have to find a so-called bridegroom befitting her status. And again, that means dowry. Had she failed in intermediate, I would have got away with her with few lakhs. Now I think it is a very challenging time. I have to educate her and I have to give her dowry again. So this is it an irony? Is it a paradox? Nobody seems to be talking. All are quietly ignoring it. The elephant in the room. This is very unfortunate. Why should there be any dowry at all? Why educated men should take dowry from women? And why educated women should give dowry? Why? What are their parents doing? Why nobody is talking about it? They got all different kinds of schemes. Kalyana Lakshmi are funding marriage, are giving funding. That is in order to get married. The government schemes are there to give money to the girl. But why nobody is having a stringent punishment against the dowry? Why there are no dowry cases brought to the book and in conviction? In fact, unfortunately, there are many cases where the people, it is believed that they are misusing, but that is very unfortunate. Only there could be a fraction of that. So let us go into the other details. Assault of women with intent to outrage their modesty. This is also one. Abduction of women. So this is very, very common, everywhere happening. They are taken when they are returning from a home, returning from offices or colleges. Suddenly, kidnapping as is shown in the movies, in a cinema scenario, and then cruelty by husband and in-laws. So no matter the women get educated, they again have to give their salary back to husband or mother-in-law, and they continue to harass. And I was told in the pandemic situation, there were many these domestic violence cases against married women. So it clearly shows that women are not secure either in their houses, in their own house, even with their husbands, with their families, and even on the streets or outside the society in workplaces. There's a sexual harassment at workplace, there is harassment at workplace, there's a kind of mental harassment to them. So much is happening against the women. So no wonder it is 63% rise in 2021. And this seems to be a reflection. It's like a mirror. It's a reflection of the entire Indian scenario. So these are some of the Dowry Prohibition Act seems to be, not many cases are getting convicted. Police and the justice system is not coming together to ensure conviction against the accused in the dowry cases. Many of them are going scot-free. And this is the unfortunate scenario. So let's look at what are the reasons. It's time that we should all contemplate. We are talking about education, educating the woman, educating the girl education, women literacy, women enlightenment, women emancipation seems to hold the key against containing all the crimes against women. We hope that there will be an ideal situation where women will be much safer and also secure and really can pursue their dreams and their freedom. But it appears that that seems to be not possible even in India. So United Nations defines violence against women as any of gender-based violence that results in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, or mental. You see, it's like this: physical, sexual, or mental harm or suffering to women, including threats of such acts. Coercion means force, arbitrary deprivation without any reason, illegally, illogically depriving the liberty, whether occurring in public or in private life. So United Nations has given that there are many countries even today that are facing women violence against women as a major issue. And all these countries are mostly South Asian, Southeast Asian, and of course mostly the Islamic countries. They are facing a lot of discrimination against women and violence against women. So this is the problem that therefore United Nations come out with the definition of violence against women, which is on the increase as a universal phenomena as well. That only shows the failure of police, the home departments, and also the failure to bring the culprits to the justice system, trying to escape from the loopholes of the legal loopholes that are there in the laws of this lands of that respective countries. So this is a very gloomy scenario, bleak prospects to hope for the security and safety of women. So any gender-based violence resulting in physical, sexual, mental harm. It could be any of these are suffering to women and acts coercion or arbitrary deprivation of liberty. Women, for example, women get educated. After marriage, they are told, no, you're not supposed to do job. Doing job is below the dignity and below the status. It is considered in so many of the societies. So even a doctor or an engineer or a well-educated lady who gets married to in these communities, they are not allowed to do the job. The doctor is not allowed to practice. A lawyer is not allowed to practice. So that is arbitrary deprivation of liberty. Freedom to pursue her own occupation or choice or dream or her contribution to family income is not allowed. Violence against women is a social, economic, developmental, legal, educational, human rights, and health. So you see, the physical and mental issue both. So it is a. So it doesn't. Violence against women should not be seen in isolation or in vacuum. That's because the uh, it has the causes in terms of social. What is social? Not given enough respect, exploited, used as a commodity, and in the marriage and treated as a commodity. Otherwise, why would there be a dowry at all? Why should a woman pay dowry? Right? And economic and development. Then the kind of economic scenario, that is the lesser say economic securities that they have. Even today in many societies, women are asked to give. Look at the dynamics of the house. Men eat first, women eat later. So the women are asked to make sacrifices everywhere, anywhere, in all the societies, regardless of caste, creed, religion, race, in India particularly. What is this scenario? Many women go hungry or go half satisfied with their food and hunger needs because they don't get enough food. Yet they don't complain because they are supposed to tolerate. So if you look at any of this, it's a social problem as much as economic problem, developmental problem, legal problem. Legal, what is legal problem? Equal wages are not given. Equal pay for equal work is there. But you go to a labor adda and ask, you will see that women will not get equal pay. All of us bargain saying that no, women cannot be paid more. Only men have to be paid more. So it is there. I mean, difference in wages. It's a legal aspect. Why that women officers are treated with discrimination? Then educational discrimination. Many girls are not permitted to go to school or become dropout at the 10th class or intermediate and so on, and get married. Most of them and become mothers of unwanted pregnancies at a very young age, even after in the marriage system. So human right, violation of human rights, because they are not allowed to live with liberty and dignity. What are we talking about international human rights? They are violated everywhere in case of women. And health doesn't have, a woman is treated in a manner that she is not given any say in even childbirth, in pregnancy, having a child for the family, in the sense when the wife and husband get married. So child a choice to have a child is decided by husband or mother-in-law, not by woman herself. And again, you know the harassment about having a male child. Did anybody ever think of this possibility? Why is that nobody is talking about educating the society that whenever a male child is not born to the woman, that the daughter-in-law is harassed, that the lady who could not, so-called, could not bear a male child is harassed. But whose fault is this? If you look at genetics or if you look at the biology explanation, the XY chromosome has to come from male. XX comes from female. So if the Y chromosome is not coming from male, how woman can produce male without coming that sex chromosome? So if at all any food should be blamed, it should be the husband. Then why woman is punished? In many cases, after marriage, number of children they should have is decided by husband and mother-in-law and other household members of the family of the bridegroom, husband, and a woman simply becomes the victim of unwanted reproduction, unwanted pregnancies, frequent childbirths, deterioration of health, anemia, and even maternal mortality exposure, and casualties, and also morbidities, high risk illnesses because of the unwanted pregnancies. All these are happening because of this. So what is the health we are talking about? Even right to health is not guaranteed to women in the name of marriage institution. And in the name of so-called woman is asked to respect her husband and treat and bear suffering, bear humiliation and torture in silence. This is supposed to be the quality of a daughter-in-law or a lady in the house, and she's not supposed to go. The moment she goes to a police station or informs her mother and brother or her mother's members, immediately she's attacked and she's killed. What happened in Kerala recently, that Vaishnavi case? What happened there? She was educated, highly educated, and so many times she was battered and bruised and attacked. And her brother told her parents, her parents, her brother told his parents that let us bring back our sister or our daughter. Let's not make her suffer anymore. But the parents insisted that no, let us continue. Why should the marriage be? Marriage should not be given another chance. So, despite repeated assaults, she was left there in the Kerala, in the situation in Kerala, and she made her last call from bathroom before she hanged herself in bathroom.
Even her husband is also educated, sir. He is working as a...
Very right. Exactly. That is my point. You are very right in responding that. Imagine education we are talking about. What is this education about? Is it only going to go university and getting a degree and scoring marks? Where is the social consciousness? Where is this humanitarian aspect? Where is this treating the woman with equal respect and dignity? Why are we not teaching? Who are the culprits? Can you guess? Our mothers are culprits. Women are culprits because they are indirectly are sowing the seeds for discord or disregard against women. Okay? So when a boy and a girl are born, they try to make a difference. I know in many families, girls were sent to government schools, boys were sent to English medium school. Girls were educated in rural area, wherever they belong to, and boys were sent to Hyderabad or some towns and so-called education for higher education. Why should there be a discrimination in there? So mothers, fathers, everybody is treating. Why there's a craze for this male child? And if a woman is not bearing a male child, why should she be punished? And I want to tell you that I was collector Adilabad, where I had the 3 rural divisions, 1 urban division called Manchiria. Rural is Asifabad and Adilabad. They are all tribal groups. You will not believe all these girls, all these places, girls were respected with, were very much loved and cared for whenever they were born. Only in Manchiria, where is a highly educated town and our connection to Karimnagar, I found that there everybody was going to the radiologist and trying to find the sex of the baby, and so that they could do the female infanticide, female birth. I booked many number of cases. It's shameful to say they are educated. I see many of those, I hear even today many of these instances. When the girls are born, they are killed also silently. Small babies. Either in the feticide, if she escapes feticide, that is in the womb, if she escapes death, she is either will be killed in the first year of the life. And her chances, IMR is, if you look at number of deaths per 1,000 live births for in a given population, it will be very high for girls, not for boys. So we neglect girls, we neglect women. We talk about Mother Kali, we talk about Mother Shakti. What is this dual standards of morality? So this is all these people who talk about traditions and all, they only perpetuate crime against women or their intended purpose. Another example, a woman does not have a child in time, let us say. She is treated as barren, insulted, she is not invited to any social gatherings, she is not asked to perform certain rituals. She thinks that she is a barren woman, she could not bear child, therefore she could not be called for any social gathering rituals. She is not fit for certain religious ceremonies. What is this sheer nonsense? Trying to humiliate women at every step. If she is not bearing a child, not becoming pregnant, either husband and wife both should go and undergo test. Why should women only be punished? Why women should be punished for not bearing a male child when the XY chromosome should come from male? Who is talking about this? Why women groups are silent about this? They too have their daughters-in-law in their house. Women have double standards. As a mother, she wants her daughter to take control of her husband. But as a mother role, a same woman wants her daughter-in-law to be subjugated by her son. What is the dilemma? What is the irony? And why there is a discrimination? Why the mothers, fathers in society don't teach normal manners, mannerisms and customs to respect women? This is not happening. We don't treat women with respect. We are not treating them. Why we are not teaching? Gender sensitization should begin with the gender sensitization of the men, of the boys. You will be surprised. All gender sensitization classes are there in women's syllabus, women college syllabus, women colleges, they conduct the seminars. I keep hearing, oh sir, there is a gender sensitization. Would you be a chief guest and would you like me? I said, I'm sure I will be willing to come and talk. But that's not a place where you should be sensitizing. They are the victims. So where is the question of sensitizing them? Only, of course, again, the exploitation, they should be sensitized. But the whole lot who is perpetrating crime and suppression, look at Nirbhaya, look at many of these cases, the men have to be taught to treat the women with respect and dignity. So this is the irony that we are suffering and contradiction that we live with. And yet we ignore such a big elephant in the room. And they say, all is well. India will be superpower. For whose sake and what sake? You can't guarantee citizens, women, basic rights. They are the power. They are power of 51. More than 50% of the population are women. Yet they tend to be suffering from, and they are the most underprivileged in the same society. And despite their contribution as homemakers, as mothers, who have inspired all of us. And also, they are suffering humiliation. So they suffer from morbidities and mortality. Look at mortality. IMR, MMR. IMR, of course, is of infant deaths. Girl children die more than boys. And also, women. Most of the women who go for unwanted, because they were asked to bear children, undergo unwanted pregnancy without following contraceptive measures, they continue to have frequent childbirth, suffer from anemia, malnutrition, premature delivery, or abnormal delivery. Casualties, women will die. So, important cause of maternal mortality rate is the death due to pregnancies and unwanted pregnancies and the risks associated with the delivery of a pregnancy. This is happening mostly, and even today, we are not able to guarantee a very safe passage, safe birth to many women in rural areas. The hygiene, health conditions are not very good. And many primary health centers do not have doctors. If they say there's a doctor, and hoping that there's a doctor, if they can take a pregnant woman, doctors are not available. Only ultimately a compounder or a nurse or a ANM will do the delivery. So this is the kind of healthcare system we are talking about. And women, they are not allowed to eat in the wing. As a woman who is pregnant, she should eat more than her requirement because she's having another life in her womb. So supplementary nutrition is required. If our requirement is 2,400 calories, she should take about 700 to 800 more to help that fetus to grow. Otherwise, she will have a low birth weight child or even death of the fetus in the womb. This is the seriousness. And yet, everywhere in the rural scenario, if you look at in many countries, as a matter of tradition, women are supposed to eat last and leftover whatever in the house. While
sir, I think there starts the real discrimination, sir. The mother itself, she is showing how to her daughter.
Yes, very true, very true. This is a very, very giving. I worked as a doctor, I worked as a collector, I worked as a commissioner of women child welfare, I worked as a commissioner of social welfare. I know how women are subjected to discrimination. This is a patriarchal society, and everything is looked from male point of view. Why male craze for male? Because he's supposed to extend the family line and lineage and so called, and if it is assured that he will lead the funeral pyre, this man who dies will go to heaven. This imaginary heaven status is making the children. So even 4 children, girl children are born, they continue to have a male child, and in the process they increase a large size family, and in the process again these so-called 4 girl children, according to them, are unwanted, and they start ignoring them, neglecting them, and become the victims of exploitation. So this is unfortunate. We cannot control the sex of the. One thing I want to tell you, any talk about controlling the sex of the baby is not. We can find out sex which is wrong. It is illegal. We should not find out. What does it matter whether a girl or a boy? And secondly, you cannot control. That means nobody can plan to have a male child only or a female child only. It is not possible. No technology is available like that. Either they have to accept this truth. And if the male child is not coming, they should simply be told. The women groups should intensify their campaign. That why women, many places women, first delivery, girl. Second delivery, girl. So second delivery, supposing pregnancy, she is going to be admitted to hospital. Mother-in-law wants and husband wants. Come back with male child, otherwise don't come back home. What is this kind of warning? What is this kind of humiliation? What is the outcasting her for no mistake of her? How can she bear male child when the XY chromosome is not coming from her husband? What kind of the absurd argument is this? Why not women groups are campaigning against them? This is very unfortunate. They take up some very, very vague causes because most of them are mother-in-laws and mothers. Again, they perpetuate the same thing in their houses. This is very unfortunate. It is time that we speak up. Why educated women should give dowry? Why educated women should go through all the suffering? Why educated women should hand over the salary to husband and yet be made suffer and victim decisions are imposed on her as number of children that should bear, number of jobs, and what type of job she should do, what time she should do, and what kind of work she should do. All is dictated by the others, even though she's educated, in the name of an institution called bond called marriage. So these are the things. And parents of the girl, children, or brides are also not getting good support, not giving good support. They think marriage is over and it's a shame to again let the girl come back to their family. They think it's a loss of shame, a loss of status. So this is very unfortunate. Is it not our duty to protect our daughters when they come back home? If they have any bad time, if there's something go wrong in the marriage, why is that everybody in the Kerala example, same thing? So many times they said, no, you adjust. She adjusted by hanging herself. Now my other question is, why should they commit suicide? Why should they commit suicide? Why can't they fight back? What is so difficult? She was educated, she could have come out. I mean, with due respect, I don't want to hurt anybody's sentiment, but why should we not look at other angle also? Why we should bear the suffering? Why women should bear the suffering? Educated, having background, have a degree, a certificate, she can come out and do job. So these are some of the things that are happening, and so it's a preventable cause of morbidity and mortality in women. So gender disparity, I have talked at length about it, and as one of you have pointed out rightly, gender disparity starts there. Actually, gender disparity starts from the day she is conceived. A girl child is conceived from that day she is conceived. If you look at some of the talks, TED talks and Joe's talks, many women have talked about it. That they're coming out, they're being born in this world is itself a case of success and history because they came against so many odds. They escaped female infanticide, discrimination of having then the infanticide and discrimination, and yet they are grown up like this and brought up like this. It's a great victory for them, as is told. So this is the kind of obstacles, odds that the girls, women are facing in our society. And boys are given all the liberty, all the freedom. There no questions are asked, no questions are. Same mother discriminates that girl should be back by 6 o'clock in the evening, but the boy can come back later hours, go to dope parties or whatever. No questions are asked because he's supposed to be a male and enjoy the patriarchal liberty. And he has a license to indulge in vices and immoralities. But girl is treated with utmost stringent laws. Even for education purpose, she is not allowed to go and come back late in the evening. So violence against women is that women at risk of several forms of violence. So discriminatory gender norms and discriminatory gender stereotypes result in structural inequality. What is the discriminatory gender stereotype? See, we expect woman means abala. Abala means weak, delicate. So they are symbolizing delicacy, which means she has to bear the humiliation, suffering. But we should treat the woman not as abala but sabala. with more strength, and she should be, after all, a woman is a source of strength, inspiration, and endurance, and also great stamina. So she's not a abala. She should be treated as sabala. And all the time women are told, supposing a boy is crying, what do they say in the childhood? That's also the discrimination example. When a boy is crying, he's not getting a chocolate or hit by somebody, then he's crying. What do the mother say? What do the father say? They say, oh, don't cry like a girl. So only they think girls are crying, boys don't cry. Girls are weak, they should cry. So this is called gender stereotyping. Women should be like women. Other day, when some girls, unfortunately, a woman was sexually assaulted, some minister of some state, he made a statement, why should they come out late at the evening? Why should they dress so like this? So they're questioning the woman, and as if she has no right to come out in the society and pursue her education or whatever the job she's doing. She is condemned for the rape or sexual assault committed against her. What kind of statement is this? Why is stereotyping only against women? This is very unfortunate. Don't you see? Everywhere we are treating women with stereotyping. You can't do this. No, you are not supposed to do it. Men only do it. Women cannot do this. Women are not supposed to do it. Women are not expected to do it. Family honor, family dignity, family values. Every time she is emotionally blackmailed into this. And ultimately, suicide could be the only way out when things go out of control. So these gender stereotypes also takes their shape when the girl child is being born and grown up. Everywhere she's treated with this kind of things. And this stereotyping. Then psychiatric morbidity generally refers to the incidence of both physical and psychological deterioration as a result of mental or psychological condition generally caused due to the consumption of alcohol. So you see, again, husband drinks and again treats his wife or woman folk with violence again. Indulges in violence against women. Because she's helpless and she's considered to be weak. It's only that she bears the torture and suffering. So it's both physical and psychological deterioration. She is the victim of not being looked after well, not treated with dignity, and she is also bruised and battered by an alcoholic husband. What a tragic state of affairs and a fate for women. Why should they not change their fate? Why should they believe in this kind of fate? So generally caused due to the consumption of alcohol, these are the things here. So mental, psychological. Also, then because of depression, many women can also take course to many kind of suicide or attempt to suicide or very extreme steps sometimes. So there is a high risk of psychological morbidity because nobody is giving counseling. Supposing a woman calls her brother, her husband, her father or mother, saying that her husband is ill-treating, they simply say, you adjust, don't come back, you have to adjust, humne bhi adjust kiya, tum bhi adjust karo. Like this kind of things are a little bit. So she has no support group coming forward. The emotional women groups also don't support. Supposing men are, her husband is an illicit relation or extramarital relation, and if woman complains to her family members or her friends, they say, oh, men are men, they are like that, you have to put up with that. After all, they can do like that, but you are not supposed to be questioning that. So these are the things. So as a result, there is no support group coming forth. Even women groups, women fellow members, women colleagues also find it that there should be somehow getting adjusted. So these are the way physical and psychological deterioration also takes place because no emotional support group, core group is coming from anybody. Her father, her mother, her brothers, her relatives in times of psychological distress or harassment or domestic violence or dowry. That's why they commit suicide because they think they are not getting support from the mother's place and they don't want to trouble their parents. Going back and dishonoring so-called, putting them at so-called loss of honor, perceived loss of honor. I'm not telling there is nothing like loss of honor. They perceive like that. There's nothing wrong. After all, those people who are doing crime activity should be booked against them and should be treated with severe punishments. Whoever are indulging in crimes against women, that is dowry death, dowry harassment, or domestic violence, etc. But instead, women are not given any support, and men are allowed to have their own free way. This is very unfortunate. And whoever complaints are told to put up for the sake of marriage, for the sake of children, and so they continue to treat once a man starts beating his wife, and if she tolerates, she continues to be battered throughout life. Till it won't stop till she goes to grave, either early or late. So women should resist, because Gandhi said that the cowardice is not just only that, not only just somebody protesting against the violence, but also bearing suffering in silence and humiliation is also cowardice act. You should be courageous to react, retaliate, and resist. So this is the kind of things that need to be done. Family factors, I told you, harsh physical discipline only for girls. Total discipline is only for girls. In fact, if you see a sister and a brother, sister is asked to sacrifice so much for the brother. Boy is given a very nice room, girl is given a shabby room or some place. All comforts and savings are given to boy rather than girl. So family factors, witnessing the father beating the mother during child, this is also, that is wife battering syndrome. Husband, again, a male chauvinist, and he is only attacking a helpless woman, thinking it is an act of chivalry and machoism is totally condemnable. So this is happening. So they see a father beating mother, and mother not treated with respect. So the son also perhaps may treat his wife in the future, or any girl, with the same kind of violence. So a bad role model, what I'm trying to say is, a father beating mother in the household, if the girl, the children see their father beating the mother, it comes as a bad role model, which they may imbibe unconsciously and may perpetuate. And thus may become a prediction of victimization and perpetration of violence against wife in adulthood. So a boy seeing father beating mother, he may end up beating his wife when he grows up. Acid attacks, vengeance, love. So he proposes love, he makes advances. A girl says, no, I'm not interested in you. And then he just does not put up with that opinion, and he will not tolerate, and he goes for acid attacks. So acid attacks have emerged as a cheap and readily accessible weapon to disfigure and sometimes to kill women and girls for reasons as varied as family feuds, inability to meet dowry demands, and rejection of marriage proposals. So you see, there is no such thing like love also there. Boy simply develops approaches a girl and says that he loves her, and she says, I don't know you. Also, I have no such feelings, or I have no such intention. I'm studying. Then if she declines, this man becomes vengeful, and this young man attacks. This is very, very. So acid attacks have emerged as a cheap and readily available to disfigure and even kill women for reasons as well as family feuds. Okay, for the so-called honor of the family, inability to meet the dowry demands. So not only vengeance, love, so-called rejection in love, so-called rejection of the offer of the love, but also meeting the failing to meet the dowry demands, and so far in order to kill. So in order to safeguard the family honor, perceived safeguard. And supposing, like I said again, a man proposes to a woman and she refuses, then he uses acid attack to seek vengeance for rejection of his marriage proposal. So this is a very, very unfortunate. Now there comes here again the worst one: killing in the name of family honor. In several countries of the world, including Bangladesh, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Pakistan, Turkey, and India, women are killed to uphold the honor of the family due to various reasons. Now, why women only should be killed to safeguard the honor of the family? Why only women have to make sacrifices? Why women only used as casualty? Because we live, all these societies have patriarchal values, a deep-rooted patriarchal value. Everybody, from a simple man to religious leader, everybody, they have only male values, male-centric society, male-centric perception of justice, male-centric judgment, and that's why women are not allowed to progress, not allowed to thrive, not given the freedom, liberty in many of this society, and they are not treated equally at all. And therefore, so wherever, supposing a girl marries outside a religious group, or let's say our social group, immediately she is attacked and killed. You know, the intercaste marriages have resulted in so much honor killings, particularly Kaap panchayats in North India, in Haryana, Delhi, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. You see many of these north belts where the so-called perceived family honor rests only upon the girl. And if the same family, the boy is having more than one wife, or is having immoral activities, even vices, but he is not questioned, because the man is given all the license and freedom, double standards of morality, but the girl is only supposed to uphold the dignity. If a boy, there is a boy, brother and a sister in a family, if brother is doing immoral act, he is not questioned. There's nothing considered to be shaming the family honor. They think nothing wrong with the male. He can do it. Only when a girl chooses to marry somebody outside marriage or takes her own decision to choose her partner, she is killed, she is attacked, she is asked to give up that choice, she is condemned, she is asked to pay a fine in the so-called Kaap panchayat, which is so unfair, and penalties are imposed, shaming is done. So kind of many things are done to the woman, all because she just wanted to have her own say in her choices that matter in her life. Yet that is not considered to be, but they think it is a family honor. Only parents should only decide, brothers should only decide, the girl's future, her future husband. Girl has no say in the matter. If she chooses, then it's suppose family honor suddenly comes into the picture. The household men, father or brothers, can engage in any immoral activity. They can be alcoholic, they can be immoral, they can have more than one wife, they can do shameful acts. No family honor comes into picture. Why there is no family honor for male? Why only for women? What is this family honor only imposes against women? Why should they only make all the sacrifices for the so-called family honor? Think about it. So what is the way forward? Gender-based legislation. It is important to enact and enforce legislation and develop and implement policies that promote gender equality by ending discrimination against women in marriage, divorce, custody laws, inheritance laws, and ownership of assets. Everywhere women are subjected to discrimination, bias. And look at this. There are many laws. It is not that we don't have laws, but cases getting convicted under that law are very, very meager number because of collusion or also non-pursuit by either a government leader or by police people in charge sheeting the case and strictly booking the case without leaving any legal hope and sending the accused to the jail by ensuring getting a conviction for him is not happening. So the pursuit is not happening. And that is one important thing. And so the legislations are there in place, but the judgments in favor of the victim are not many. They are all going in favor of the accused because he is going scot-free. Cases cannot be proved, evidence is not there, properly it is not pursued. There are many legal loopholes, and somehow the good coordination doesn't take place among the key players in the justice system, stakeholders in the justice system, and implementing policies. Policies are good that promote Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. It's a very wonderful scheme. In fact, a lot of good activities done by presently our government of India. Excellent scheme. A lot of girl children are given encouragement, education, and also given a lot of respect, dignity, equal status. Excellent program. We all should uphold that. And then promote gender equality. This is what gender equality should start at home. And mothers should be told, fathers should be told that you treat girl and boy same, on equal footing. There are no different morals, no different rules, no different values of honors for based on sex. There should be equality. whoever tarnishes the image of the family is a family honor. Killing of the family honor or tarnishing of the family reputation. Why only it should be applied to women, girl? So this is the one. So all this should be done. Ending discrimination against women in marriage, like I already we discussed. Divorce. In divorce also, if you look at many cases, everybody thinks. If you talk generally when an issue has come to a divorce, most of the people first comment is, "Oh, she could not adjust with him. Oh, she did something wrong. She could not somehow tolerate her husband. She should have been more accommodative to put up with her husband. So it is a mistake. So that's why the divorce is taken. So only women are blamed mostly in these cases of divorce, as the males are not at fault. Everything, finger pointing goes, blame game goes against women. Finger pointing against women, at women. And custody laws. Where are education institutions, hospitals, hostels, jails? There are also violation of women norms. There are also sexual violence, harassment, all going on. So custody, wherever there's supposed to be even state officers, authorities are there in these institutions like girls' hostels, girls' institution, girls' colleges, and in the office places, workplaces. There also, everywhere, violation is taking place against the women. Harassment is taking place against the women. All forms, sexual, economic, mental form of discrimination and also harassment. Financial independence, improving women's access to paid employment. I've been also thinking that it is correct, but I've seen that ultimately they earn salary. Only how many of the women are working, number one, okay, and how many women are entitled to have their own salaries with them. They again have to give it back to husband or to the household member. This is not correct. So the financial independence is not coming even despite all the education. You talk about any JNU education or this education, this university, that university, this PhD. Husband is supreme. Bow your head to her, him. That is the kind of the scenario. Ultimately, whoever she is, whatever her status is, she has to bow to the authority of male, that is her husband, and male kin, that is relatives. This is very unfortunate. This is happening. So education, I have told you, education has not reduced dowry harassment. It has not brought emancipation. I have not come across many cases where girls told, we will not marry this boy if he is demanding dowry. They simply go with the tide. They don't want to create ruckus. They want social thing that, stigma, social, kind of embarrassment, all that. So people simply go. They think all that is done in the interest of a girl only. So nobody asks openly, but they silently are the people who are perpetrating it. All have equal role in this. So why should we allow this kind of thing? Why only women should pay the dowry? If you look at the series, sex ratio has become adverse sex ratio, meaning because many women, births turn out to be female infanticides, or even before they are born, female feticides are taking place. As a result, girl children are not allowed to be born. This has happened in China. This has happened in all those countries which we have discussed now. And so there is adverse for every 1,000, we have 800, 760, 780, and now slowly it is improving, of course, but it is 840, 860, but not 1,000. How many number of females per 1,000 sex males? It should be 1,000, or it should be more. Only in 1 or 2 states, it's more than 1,000. But in many states, it's less. That means those societies are somewhere practicing gender-based abortion, gender-based discrimination. It is a reflection of the state. It is time. So literacy education has no value unless we protest. It is happening silently even in among most educated communities. And women are becoming, despite their education, not able to raise voice out of the social, so many things that we discussed. Out of so-called family honor, might keep the marriage intact for the children's sake, or to maintain family honor, something like that. Fine. Then developing and resourcing national plans and policies to address violence against women. Nirbhaya case, we have seen, Nirbhaya law has been brought. Despite stringent laws, again Disha case has come. Disha Act has come. Again, a series of violence and sexual assaults are taking place against the women. It is reported with increasing frequency across the country. It is very unfortunate. So it's not the stringent law. It's the question of the people also coming together, mobilizing. It's not like just lighting the candle in when a death place, mourning or showing, paying tribute to the victim in a Jessica case or like that, or Nirbhaya case, but to be politically, but to be coming together as a social movement to protest against any kind of harassment against women in any form. Improves it. So there should be awareness. Family should be the first basis for support and give equal given importance to the women. Improve system of collecting crime surveillance data on violence against women. So this is also correct. Many cases, for example, domestic violence, they go unreported. I'm not talking domestic violence only taking place in India. During the pandemic situation, it was reports have shown that many countries have witnessed domestic violence against women. But in India, it is more. Also, while reporting is there, there is underreporting. No reporting also. Most of them, they go, but they patched up. A woman, supposing, goes to complain, to police station to complain, again, she's forced to withdraw by her own family members for the sake of keeping the marriage bond, or for the sake of children, to give up that police complaint. So again, husband will continue to assault her, continue to batter her, continue to beat her, indulge in violence, domestic violence, and so on, it goes on. So what I'm trying to say is crime surveillance data is also only reported one. Unreported is so much. There's so much of marital rape is going on. And then there is so much issues about domestic violence going on, which are not reported. All these are underreported or not reported also. So these data, so as to speak, do not really reflect the actual scenario. So these are some important areas. So stringent laws, good persuasion, all stakeholders, police, judiciary, particularly I'm talking about the prosecutors, attorney generals, the legal, the lawyers, they all should play their role very well so that any crime against women is well fought and also given a very good chance for her winning a case and also favoring out to assuring favorable outcome for the women. So this is the important. Otherwise, if it is today 63%, it can go even out of order. A few things I thought I will show you. I was a triple IT vice chancellor. I thought there I wanted to introduce the physical fitness exercise and judo karate for girls as a part of the curriculum in the education. We talk about so many things, so many subjects which are not really useful in their lifetime. But a girl should be taught self-defense so that she should be taught. Why should girl be always play victim card? I should should become victim. She should be taught to defend herself. Why should there be a sexual assault only against girl? Right? So we should have a compulsory curriculum where children are given the physical education, the assault, the karate, judo, and such physical combat activities which help them to have self-defense so that they do not become victims and they should not end up only committing suicide or becoming victim. Why should they at all? They should be also given right to defend. Why there are no crimes against women? Why there is no abduction against women, men as much as women? Why there is no violence against men? Because women are wailing in silence and we are stereotyping them. Don't fight, otherwise you are not women. If you fight, you are not women. Or it is not befitting the status of women. This is the kind of stereotyping. So this is very wrong. It is time that we all start talking and have a dialogue. And it's important that girl education should invariably issue the curriculum of physical fitness and physical combat so that she should fight any enemy, every enemy, defend against any immoral, any forms of exploitation in the future. In addition to the laws that we have in place and strict implementation of those laws by ensuring that everybody plays their role effectively. Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, even if a girl comes out bravely and try to file a case, But yeah, in return, she will be blamed for that, sir.
Exactly. That's the
Even
example
you
I
might
gave.
have done something wrong, so that this has happened to you.
Yeah, you are very right. I told you, in case of sexual assault against a woman, a minister of a state made in one of our states in the country, he made a statement that it is a mistake of woman. Her dress, her habit of coming out in the evening, inverted commas. They said, why should she come out in the evening? So the mistake is pointed at women. So also you are very right. When a wife or a woman goes police station, they think you must have done something wrong. What is the wrong? She did not adjust. She did not accommodate. She did not bear suffering and humiliation. She said enough is enough, and she braved to go to the police station. And yet society doesn't support that. They
Yes,
simply
sir.
think
They will
it
say
is
that
your
he
mistake.
is the man. He will do like that. You should be adjusted.
Yeah,
Like
men
that.
are men. They are like that. You should put up. In fact, mothers also say, you see, we put up with your grandfather, your dad. They are like that. This is a lesson for you. Why do you spoil your chances? So you put up with the shame and suffering and humiliation. So a lady goes to complain, is treated with, in fact, she is treated with less respect among the women groups. They think, oh, why did she go to police? She should have adjusted herself. What is this adjustment? Why only blame women for this? Even to go, doesn't she have a right to complain that all forms of violence is committed against her? And why is that not even women groups support them? Mostly,
Yes, sir.
some women groups, of course, take active interest. They
So
get
we can say
support.
that this is the major reason for increasing crimes, and
Yes.
also not exposing that crimes to the.
You are very right. Families don't support. Our own families don't support, right? For a girl, for a woman, our own families don't support. If she's
They feel
married,
shame to come out.
she said, "विदाई कर दिया तुमको, तुम वहीं पे रहना. हाँ? अगर आया भी तो only dead body वापस आना. आप आना नहीं, वापस नहीं आना." This kind of stereotyping, this kind of education is given to them because they are supposed to be women and treat everything with adjustment.
Sir,
डोली जाएगी
even
और बारात में डोली जाएगी, विदाई होगी, लेकिन वो वापस नहीं आना चाहिए, जिंदा नहीं आना चाहिए, वो उसका लाश आना चाहिए. क्या है, क्या तरीका है? Please go on.
Sir, even Kerala being one of the most literate state in India.
Correct, you are very right. I was about
Yes,
to say that.
even it has been like facing many of the issues. So I think the need of the hour is not only mere like literate people,
you are very
just
right.
degrees. We need to have the societal education, either
Very
men or women, whoever it is. In at large, we need to educate the society on the ongoing issues.
Men
Only then
should be
we can.
educated, men should be
Yes, sir.
educated, and mothers should be educated. Mothers are the culprits.
Sir, even
They
we
all
are
have the
seeing.
double standards.
Yes, sir. In education also.
Napoleon said, give me good mothers, I will give you good citizens. Why there is increasing crime against women? Because mothers are not teaching their boys, sons, to treat the woman with dignity. They are given licenses for indulging in immoral and vice activity, or even treating, hurting any other girl of other community. They simply think he's a boy, he should be allowed. But the girl is not allowed even to choose to talk to any male member in the neighborhood. Right? Yeah, please go on.
So even when we see this education, that like papers, sir, these ethics papers and value education papers, they will be keep as the fundamental courses or just to pass out, and they are not keeping like main subjects, or they are not imbibing those values in the students, sir. Mostly students feel like these are the subjects which we should be passed, so we'll just try to make like that butty system. That's it, sir, and not learning the core value of that topic.
You are very right. Actually, as Commissioner Intermediate in 2018-19, after there, only 1-2 years back, I was Commissioner for 4 to 5.5 years. I said, we will have ethical paper, one subject in the intermediate. Many parents have come in and questioned me. Sir, they are so busy, either they have qualified to become engineer or doctor, MPC or BPC, or have a competitive exams to pursue their career. You are teaching ethics, which has no value, which has no marks and no meaning. Instead, they could have learned physics or maths or chemistry or biology. In that time, revision, you are giving this useless subject called ethics. This is the observation. We are talking about gender sensitization, respecting elders. So if you don't give ethics education, tomorrow they don't respect their parents also. That's when the parents realize why the ethics value education is more important. This is where the ethics come from. Morality, ethics should come from families. Because family is it's the agency of culturalization, socialization. It enculturation, and also imparting culture, transmitting culture, right? Later the institutions.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Yeah.
So even professional ethics is one of the part of ethics, no, sir. Even though they become doctors or engineers, they must know that a professional ethics, no, sir.
Very right. Everywhere it's a discrimination. Women are treated with bias, discrimination. Even in professional ethics also. Look at what happened in Tarun Tejpal case. It was found that she was an instructor and therefore she cannot be the victim. Therefore, the case was closed and the rapist or the accused was treated with acquittal. Education, professional groups, even in high level sponsored societies, in corporate groups also, women do not get have their way and do not get their rights asserted, realized and implemented. There's so much discrimination. It's a male-dominated world society. It's a male world society. It is full of patriarchal values. Everything is male-centric. Justice is also male-centric. Every value is male-centric. And though the woman point of view is not upheld. And males, girl's father, girl's brother, girl's mother, girl's relative, everybody support patriarchal values. So girls that is wrong, but they don't see it is wrong. We are all culturally conditioned to believe patriarchal values are right. And so everything is from that perception. Why should we not open up this now? We should burn that discrimination books that teach us discrimination against women. Manusmriti said earlier, a woman should be dependent on her father when she is young, on her husband when she is wife, on her son as a widow. That is, she should be always dependent on male. It is the male who does the favor to female. And so women should be dependent throughout life. This is Manusmriti.
Yes, sir.
And it held the sway influence. What is the sati practice? Forced to immolate herself when her husband dies. Glorification of sati. Even today, sati glorification temples are there in North India. And these rituals are performed either blatantly or in a disguised form. Despite so many Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Vishwachandra Vidyasagar, Veerashaiva Lingam Pantulu, look at many of those luminaries, Gangadhar Tilak. So many reformers have come, Gandhi himself. Yet things have not changed much. They talked about that in the last century. Even in this century, 63% increase in crime we are talking today. Where are we heading? We are talking about sustainable development goals, 17 goals. India becoming superpower. First, protect and save women. Give them equal respect and dignity. Only then we talk about the development, prosperity. Advancement of any civilization cannot grow, cannot development, cannot take place if women are not given equal respect, dignity, and participation in the development. So that is the final word on that. I hope it's a very big debate. I welcome discussion. Maybe let me just complete the second topic. Let me complete this topic also. Capacity building and training the service providers and law enforcement officers to handle cases of violence against women. So you see, whenever the woman complains, everybody, now of course things are slightly changing because I see many police officers, women police officers in many places, and they try to appreciate the woman's point of view. So service for many young DSPs DPC, DCPs, that is IPS officers, and state police officers, women police officers, state women IPS. They have come and slightly things are improving. At least they are able to feel the difference, and we are able to see some dispensation of justice in favor of females. So because they are taking utmost care in protecting and defending the rights of women. So law enforcement officers should be given good what is called as a good orientation program and good training how to handle cases of against women. They are very sensitive. They should be encouraged to talk. They should be encouraged. Counseling should be given. All this. So it should be a slow problem. It requires a special training and also special kind of orientation. So that should be done. Male mediated initiative. Ensure male involvement devising program for abusers. Okay. So the male should be given gender sensitization. Male should be given orientation, how to respect the woman with dignity and equality and respect, and treat the woman with equality, respect, and dignity. And male should be given, involvement should be given. Unless males participate and have a role play in ensuring that women are not exploited and given, so male should be involved in all these women programs, or programs intended to improve the lot of women, particularly the status of women, particularly gender-based discrimination and also harassment against women. Prevent recurrence of violence. See, this is the case. A husband comes and beats a woman after getting drunk. If he tolerates once, she has tolerated for lifetime. Because now husband knows. And she becomes the easy soft target. Every time he consumes alcohol, he comes and beats her. It becomes a very ritual, like every day. So once a victim, always a victim. There should be resistance. There should be voice raised against this. So this is the thing. So prevent recurrence of violence by not tolerating, by raising voice, by also fighting against. So early identification of women and children who are experiencing violence and providing appropriate referral and support. Referral means where should they go? So for example, women crime police station or women counseling center and women centers where they are given training and counseling. They should be told and they should be sent to those places. And many women who are harassed by their husbands or their family member are rescued and sent to state home for women, state-run institution to protect women. But they can't live there forever. So it's a question of we should make society safer, not take them away from the society and put them in state homes, that they should never come. Then promote egalitarian gender norms as a part of life skill and comprehensive sexuality education curriculum taught in. See, why should anybody not question why there should be any dowry at all? Why only should women pay? Why should there be payment at all? And why only women? What is this saying anything? Why women should be asked to pay? भाई ऐसा ही रहता है, ये ऐसा है, ये हमारा परंपरा है, हमारा संप्रदाय है, हमारा ग्रेट ट्रेडिशन है, हमारा फैमिली हॉनर है. These are the kinds of justification. ये ऐसा ही होता है, ये देश है, ये भारत देश है, ऐसा ये क्या है? So these things have to be questioned. These things are, we should start dialogue and build up. I'm not saying our country is really great. I'm not criticizing our country. I'm saying don't equate abuse of women with that so-called tradition and paramparas. Our country is great, of course. It is doing a wonderful job. At the same time, women exploitation should not be allowed to justify. All practices like women dowry harassment, violence against women, beating women, that's violence again, and exploitation of women, both physically and sexually, should not be equated with so-called tradition, so-called honors. Okay, so of any cultural group or any social, it should not be equated, and there is no such thing. It should not be. There should not be any room for this. We should encourage our religious leaders, our political leaders, our NGOs, social activists to talk about this, have a dialogue, and openly come out saying that this is the thing. Many women, so-called high socialites, are busy with their kitty parties. They perpetrate the same thing. They treat their daughter-in-laws with the discrimination. They encourage their daughters to have their own freedom. So this double standard they practice. So most of them have this kind of scenario. So that we should don't take this for granted that this place ऐसा ही होता है, औरत को ऐसा ही रहना पड़ता है. This is not correct. So egalitarian gender norms should come. And like I said, when should it start? The day when a girl is conceived in mother's womb. That is the day. From that day, she has to fight all odds to come out in the world, and then also grow like a girl child, and again become woman. It is everywhere she's facing a burden, and this is the problem even today. So it's time that all sustainable development goals, our own programs, while governments are trying very best, having some good programs, our government of India is having very good programs. State governments are also having very good programs, encouraging girls to go to school, college, have higher education, so that they can protect themselves from exploitation by engaging in social jobs, by engaging in jobs and getting social independence, economic independence, and free from exploitation. Most of them are well intended and they are there, but yet there should be also emancipation, realization that education alone is not. Everywhere there is a violence against women, it should be condemned, criticized in any form, no matter whoever it is and whatever the status that he occupies. Right? That is the kind of thing about the